Hello, my name is Ian Pelham-Turner.
My name is Buche Pacharada.
And welcome to the Voice of Great Britain on ALB UK television. Unfortunately, our colleague Helena Shard can't be here today. She has gone down with a terrible cold. So get well soon, Helena. Okay, so let's roll the titles and let's start the show. Well, it's been another incredible week, hasn't it, Buche? I mean, all sorts of things have been happening this week as well. And I know very shortly we're going to talk about an event that really Albanians just showing how concerned they were about what's happening to them and the name of Albania in London on Saturday. But I think, first of all, we'll just go ahead with some of the news items. And it starts off with United Nations. Today have said the 8 billionth child has been born today. How on earth do they do that? I don't know.
It's amazing. How can they have the right statistics to show that that child who is born today is the 8th billionth person in a planet?
Apparently how they choose it is that it started going back 30 years ago with the 6th billionth child, and they chose the 6th billionth child, and then they chose the 7th billionth child, and now they've chosen the 8th billionth child in the planet. So it goes in decades. So I'm just thinking, you know, and the amount of press, the young girl who's now 10 or 11 years old, who was the 7th billionth child, was in India. And she said, the amount of press I got at the time, and she said the press have come again today because, you know, I was the 7th billionth child. So it's something very special in their lives, isn't it?
I'm sure it is, because you are having a title as a 8th billion person in the planet Earth. And probably all her life, or do we know the gender of the baby?
Not yet.
Not yet. We just know that today was born
one child. Today was born. So, and apparently we are looking at and listening to some of the statistics, and that India by 2024, 2 years' time, will have more population than China. And so it's going to become the most populated country in the world. I'm full of these crazy statistics, you know. I suck these things up like a sponge, you know, when it comes to these things.
I don't think I could do that, because there's so many statistics and numbers nowadays to remember, even for your personal life, then it becomes scary to remember what is happening in the world at the moment. So do you believe in that we should just read good news?
I think that's a very good question, actually. I think more positive news is needed at times. Yes, I agree with that. And we have a very funny story to finish off the first part of our show with as well. But I think sometimes when it comes to times like this, and Albania and Albanians, especially in Britain, need to have our support. And ALB UK TV really does support Albanians in Britain. It's very important to talk about this, and that may not be but I suppose in some ways it is a positive topic at the same time, you know, because the thing that I hate to see is the values of Albanians denigrated in this country. It's not fair. Yes, there are always some people who are going to cause problems, but it's irrespective of country. And really 99% of Albanians, as we know, really value and respect this country. We will talk a little bit about, I think, this Winston Churchill incident with the flag. But that was really Albanians saying, we respect what Winston Churchill did. And so showing our flag to Winston Churchill is something of respect. And a lot of the newspapers, if they've taken an opposite view on it, more fool them.
Yes.
More fool them.
I think one of those, we cannot even call it incident because it has meant a respect for Churchill. And also, we know that bad news go just for having more clicks and more viewers, followers on their site, not the reality that has happened on a day or is happening during the time that we live in.
And there was a lot of misreporting as well, but we'll talk about that a little bit further on in the show. So now we're going to move from that to my esteemed royal King Charles III. My goodness me, I still can't get it into my head sometimes. I still keep on calling him Prince Charles. It's like I just quite get it at times at the moment as well. In moments of madness, I still call him Prince Charles. And so what a week he's had. He went to York thinking, well, this is going to be a nice day out for him. He's coming up to his birthday. It was his birthday yesterday. He's coming up to his birthday, and he's with his wife Camilla, and they're just walking through the streets of York, saying hello to the guests, and someone throws an egg at him. What is going on in Britain?
That is, I shouldn't say funny, but it shouldn't happen. And do we know the real reason why that happened from them?
Because the guy's an idiot. That's why. Let's call it what it is. The student who did this apparently, thought it was extremely funny to throw eggs at King Charles III, and he even posed for pictures as he was being hauled away. And so he obviously thought this was probably his 15 minutes of fame. So for the rest of his life, he's now going to be really seen as someone who. What is he going to be seen as? I don't know. But I think so. Doing things like that at a time just after, the Queen's death, and going through a period of change as well. It's not Britain. That's not my Britain.
I agree with you, and I do understand from personal views that. When you have a death in a family, regardless which age, I'm sure that he hasn't gone through grieving process as should be, even though his mother was a queen. She was still a mother.
Yeah.
And he was put in there just doing, we might say they've been prepared, but nothing prepares you for the loss of a parent.
No, absolutely. Anyway, so yesterday was his 74th birthday. He beats me by 3 years. I always thought that we were almost the same age. So he's 3 years older than me, and he had this official photograph of himself leaning against a tree. I'm surprised he wasn't hugging the tree. Because he's a great hugger from what I've been told in the past. For things holistic, especially.
I love the picture, to be honest, because it's not something. That we have seen so far. We got used to the Queen, to see her in an environment that is pretty. You got photographs, and you got nice views, and then him is in a nature typical of King Charles views on a world, and he's very spirited person.
Absolutely, and I think for. It's going to be an interesting time, and of course, he's very upset at the moment over and I forgot the name of the Netflix series now.
Crown.
The Crown,
yes.
So he's upset about that because now it's talking about Diana's time and so forth, and also learning that I think the book that Prince Harry is writing about the royal family is due out in January as well. So. There are fireworks upon fireworks. It was a few days ago we had our own Guy Fawkes night, November the 5th, which happens every year. And I think the fireworks are still going on in Buckingham Palace as we speak,
Yes.
over what Harry is going to say next. And no doubt some expletives from there we go, Prince Charles again.
I do
King
the
Charles,
same.
King Charles, and what he's going to be sort of saying. So it's going to be an interesting few months as far as the royals are concerned, and obviously leading up to next year when obviously the inauguration and the crowning of King Charles as well. So we'll be all looking at that. And so we move on from that until as far as the royal family is concerned. Now I'm going to mention the name. Now I'm going to mention the name Meghan Markle. Yeah, to me, she's a great hero. I have to be honest with you. I love Meghan Markle, and I think a large proportion of people of colour in Britain as well love Meghan Markle too. But guess what? Guess what she's done now? Guess what she's gone and broken royal protocol. She's gone and broken royal protocol. Yes, she has gone, yes, but, and of course, every sort of right-wing newspaper has been on her back to say, you've broken royal protocol. You've gone and actually told people in America to go out and vote. What? What is wrong with that?
Yeah.
What is wrong with that? I get, I don't know where we are in this world at the moment. I think stupidity is gone, and I think we're now into reckless journalism like I've never seen it before.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In reality, and as you can see, the results that have come out over the past few days, Trump's revival looks like it's going into decline. Tonight is the night when he is supposed to make this big speech. And he was supposed to have said, tonight, I'm going to go for presidency again. However, all of a sudden, it's stumm. It's where is Trump? Is he going to make this big talk tonight? Is he going to make this big speech tonight on television across America to say he's going to go for presidency? Or is he going to look at most of the people who he supported as candidates, as governors, as senators, and House of Representatives, failed? Failed. There's not another word for it. They failed. So it's going to be one of those nights, but I want Meghan Markle to win. I want all women to win.
Yes, thank you, Ian. You are the biggest supporter for women's rights and achievements in their lives.
Absolutely. I want all women to win. And so we move on from that. Obviously, next week is the start of the World Cup football.
Yes, it's been talked about it the whole week. Mostly, I guess, in the press, we see how the workers has been treated, and there is issues about the security and all that. So what do you have on that in specific?
I think at the moment, obviously LGBT community are feeling very aggrieved. Homosexuality is not allowed in any form and can actually get the death penalty in Qatar as well. So, although I'm not gay myself, I know many, many wonderful people who are gay. And so you live your life as you wish to, and they are amongst some of the kindest people you can ever possibly meet. And so they're just normal people. They may have a different view on life, but so what? And I think
we should have that right in life, because we are all human, and we have come for a purpose to live and give. So I don't know how the politics and these things, they get involved, and people think they are stronger and they can rule the world by setting up some specific standards for you to live. So nobody can tell you how to live. You have a right to live as you please.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we know that Qatar is one of those countries that have a lot of discrimination, I would say, very clearly. So we hope that this is something that they can look into it and it doesn't become a problem.
Yeah.
Because we know most of the sportsmen, they could be from LGBT community.
Yeah, and so I but so what? It's the reality, and I think where they have their safety of their workforce seems to be in great doubt as well, where many people have been killed, from this. It's terrible. But at the same time, and I take your point on that, the England team did a team photograph just before they left, and they're all dressed up in Marks and Spencer's suits. So this is the Marks and Spencer's. Marks and Spencer's, for people who don't know, is probably one of the most prime brands in Britain, and they've gone and suited and booted the whole of the England team. So it is how well these suits will be maintained in Qatar, who knows? But I think it was a wonderful picture to have, and it just shows camaraderie as well with the England team, and the Welsh team, it has to be said, haven't been able to go to the World Cup. They've never won enough matches in the past for about 40 years now.
Oh,
so I think it's the 1970s when the last time that 1970s or late 1970s, early 80s, the last time they appeared at the World Cup. So come on, the Welsh. So I've got a lot of Welsh friends, and Helena is half Welsh, so if I don't mention that again, she will crown me later. And come on, the England as well. So
come on, England. We're going to vote for you.
It's going to be
make us proud in this World Cup.
Absolutely, make everybody proud. And then Thursday is, I swear to God, I'm thinking of Thursday, and if you've ever heard the sound of Big Ben going off, dong, dong, this is going to be Thursday afternoon, I swear to God.
Tell me about that.
This is For Whom the Bell Tolls, and it's Jeremy Hunt, our Chancellor, is just about to tell us how bad he's going to tax us out of existence for the rest of our days. And he's doing it with a ramrod look on his face. It looks like someone has stuck a broom up his back. He's up there. He's so tight, you can tell. And he's got this sort of wide-eyed stare at the moment that seems to be making people think, what is he up to? And it's even the way he walks. He doesn't seem to bend. He seems to be ramrod straight at the moment. So that could be a sign that we're in for a pretty vile time come Thursday night.
So probably saying, buckle up and hear what we have to say.
Buckle up and hear what we got to say.
Yes.
So I think, so Thursday, everyone, Albanians, go back to Albania. Go back.
We shouldn't say that. Because
we shouldn't say that.
We shouldn't say that because
this is a joke. This is a joke. We need the Albanians to come in.
Yeah. We shouldn't say either that one. We should say probably just...
we should, but because I love Albanians. They are amongst the most talented people, and they bring with them great business ethics as well. And look at the owner of the channel here, Helena Castrati, what he's done for the channel and how he supported it as well. So I think that the reality at the moment is Albanians win in my world.
Absolutely, with the hard work. All the time, and with the hard work, I think that is a key to achieve.
Yes. And finally, before we go back on to Albanian affairs, Rosie the dog.
Oh, that is something I want to hear about. We spoke about it before we started.
This story, Rosie the dog. Rosie the dog was in a park in Loughborough in Leicestershire. And she was running around the park, having her daily walk with her owner. And then someone let off some fireworks, and she ran out of the park and disappeared. So her owner was upset because he couldn't find Rosie the dog at all. And then Rosie the dog managed to get to the local police stations, would you believe? So the doors that you can see opening there are of the local police station. And she comes in and she sits there and looking up longingly. Now, who could ignore a dog like that handing themselves in to the local police? And even the local police cannot believe that how she found the local police station, and she came in and sat down, and they could see the dog tag with the
name and everything, yeah.
Name and number and everything as well. And they rang the owners to say, your dog has arrived at the police station.
I love already this dog, even though I don't know the owner of the dog, but it's fantastic. The dog, Rosie, felt frightened of fireworks, and obviously it looks very clever dog. Went to the right place for protection.
Absolutely. I mean, to see a story like that, I mean, that is absolutely amazing. You know, and the police officer that looked after, a lady who looked after the dog until she said, oh, she was just a most amazing dog. And she just sat there calm and just looking up at, you know, waiting for the owner to turn up.
And then found a safe place to be there for.
And found a safe place to be there. So,
oh, bless
so
you.
there you go. So it, you know, they say dogs aren't intelligent. My goodness me, you know.
It's just they don't have a language to speak.
Absolutely.
Unless we don't understand.
Absolutely right. So now we're going to go back to the Albanian sort of situation that happened on Saturday, and I think for me. In one way, I hate seeing it, and the reason why I hate seeing it is not that that they came together, which I think is typical Albanian.
That was Ian organized organically. It was something that you know, that's what they do.
No.
They felt to have the protests, so their name can be you know, not be scapegoats for political reason.
The reason why I hate to see it is they shouldn't have had to do it in the first place. It's really what I was going to say. You know, because the Albanian community took me into their hearts. They're several years ago now. They're the most fabulous community, the most incredible people you could meet. You know, the values that they have, the family values that they have. I always say that, you know, when I used to go to Albanian meetings, it reminded me of how I was brought up and raised. You know, the family environment is very, very important, you know, for Albanians as well. And I always tell this same story, but it's a story that the first time I ever went to one of the child talent shows, you know, in London, and about 800 people had turned up, and all these children were singing and, you know, and doing whatever they're doing. And then this 2-year-old girl came on stage, and she was probably about the height of my knee, you know. And she came out and she looked straight up at this 800 people, and she was shaking. She was shaking. And then it was just like the DNA of Albania set in, and she went ramrod straight and belted out this number, singing this number. It was fabulous. That is the spirit of Albania.
As we see on a screen on the day on the 12th, we can see that there were quite a lot of people turn up. Yeah. Bearing in mind that every Albanian and everybody works on Saturday, so whoever could make it, they've gone, and they supported, being there to just support the whole protests.
And was it peaceful?
Very peaceful.
Thank you.
Very peaceful.
And you see, that's it. You know, so the whole thing is, and this.
In some media, they said they blocked the roads, and there were so many. No, it wasn't. If you look, there was in one particular way.
It's nonsense.
In a place that they feel that represents, you know, the problem, because it has come from the parliament.
Absolutely right. And this nonsense about putting a flag with Winston Churchill. I mean, you know, Churchill, as we know, Albanians supported 60,000, I think, Jewish people during the Second World War to sort of keep them safe as well. And a lot of them worked with allies as well. I think Churchill would have accepted the flag with great humility, to think that Albanians saw him as a source of inspiration at a time like this as well. And I think,
they just wanted to divert, because they can't accept that everything went well, so they have no news apart from if we make a news of ourselves and make some silly stuff. But there was no bad news to go for. So the only one they found with no evidence, so to say, it was a flag around the Churchill statue. Yeah. So we explain ourselves that is the reason we did not do it to disrespect that. It was out of respect because we have a history that we know behind that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been a great show again today. Thank you so much for coming again. And, you add so much to what we're doing right now as well. So it's wonderful working with you. I'm going to take some Beecham powders around to Helena to make sure that she's capable and able next week. Oh, she did sound so bad. I have to be honest with you. I felt so sorry for her, with all this going on at the moment.
Last week has been for everybody. Is this flu like symptoms going around? Let's just hope it's not COVID, even though we have lots of cases that are coming up. But Helena, we wish you well. So next week, 3 of us can do more and more shows and news from Great Britain.
Absolutely. So have you got any final remarks for today?
Just to say that, again, I'm so proud of my community for working together, being together, bearing in mind that we are living in a very difficult times, not just here but all over the world, and keeping it together and being etiquettes during this time is not helping us, but we are doing fine and keep going. We have to support one another regardless of what happened, and I'm so proud to be Albanian.
Absolutely right. And I'm proud to be here as well. I have to say, I need to thank Helena Castrati and ALB UK Television for all that they're doing at the moment in such difficult circumstances at times to actually keep this channel going and supporting Albanians in Britain and really across the world at the same time. And so this is the latest Voice of Great Britain show. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will have another show again next week. So from the 2 of us, we have to say have a great week, enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.
See you soon.